She is a nationally renowned speaker and an author and a radio show host. She is also a small business owner, a wife, and a mother. For several years, she's operated a transitional reentry program called New Vision for women in Fredericksburg. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Lisa Kratz Thomas.
First, I'd like to thank Mr. Jones for taking the initiative to get me up here, and the warden for allowing this to happen, because it's new and it's sometimes we like to take a risk. So I just want to tell you that I appreciate that, and I hope that whatever I say today, that you guys get something out of it. First, I want to tell you that there really is no place I would rather be than right here, right now, talking to you. Now, I realize that there are a million places that y'all would rather be, so just bear with me here. But I have the opportunity to go across the state and speak to men and women that will be re-entering back to society. And when I say an honor and a privilege, what that means to me is this is a place where I can come and I can experience my full potential. You see, I'm able to take the adversities that I've overcome in my life and hopefully share those things to help you get the best out of your life. I want to start with a story. Once upon a time, there was a 5-year-old little girl, and she would come home from elementary school. She'd walk across a little field and get to the edge of a brook and cross over a bridge. And one day when she was walking, she leaned over the bridge and she was swinging her book bag. And she thought, you know, if I fell into the water, the world would be better off. And if I fell into the water, no one would miss me. Now, I don't know about you, but for 5 years old, that is a pretty sad thought. Do any of you have kids or grandkids or nephews that are 5, around that age? You know, for a child to think that at that age, there's something really wrong. And people say, well, how do you know that? Well, I know that because I was that little girl. Because I can tell you from the time I can remember, something told me, there's something wrong with you, Lisa. You're just not like everybody else. Really, the world would be better off if you weren't around. And how many of you know that when you start to internalize stuff like that, you start to believe it? Because see, it really doesn't matter if you're locked up, if you're free, if you're overseas, if you're on the battlefield, if you're at home with your children, if you're working in an office. The battlefield ain't inside these walls. It's not on the battlefield in Iraq. The battlefield's in your mind. This is all about your mind. And I'm going to tell you today, I'm not talking about, I don't want y'all to start comparing what you see and your insides to my outsides. Because the bottom line is, when I get through with this, you're going to realize that we are fighting the same fight, baby. There is no difference between you and me. Because you know what? When we rip the outside off of us, and we stand there, we got the same pain. We have the same feelings about things. We have the same needs and the same wants. Because I got to tell you, people say to me, Lisa, why do you go into penitentiaries and prisons and speak? And then when they find out that the population is primarily male, they're like, aren't you afraid? Aren't you scared? And I'm like, heck no, I ain't scared. Because everything that you run from, I run to. That's been my life. If you tell me not to do it, I'm going to do it. Because you see, something up here told me that I'm different than everybody else. So here I am, this 5-year-old little girl. I have those feelings that I described. So the first chance that I had an opportunity to escape those feelings, I took it. Does anybody in the house understand escape from feelings? Oh, nobody in here has ever done any drugs. You've never done it. You can't tell me that. Y'all committed a crime. You came up in here for something. You were running from something. Does anybody in the house relate to the fact that when you got something inside of you, you're going to find a way to escape? And when you have the opportunity, you're going to take it. Because everybody in here took an opportunity to do something that got y'all up in here. Right? Right. So we're all, if you're not with me, just pretend, okay? We'll pretend like you know, okay? So look, when I had the chance to escape from those feelings of low self-worth, I took it. And the first opportunity was, I was in kindergarten, and my teacher was Sister Rita Marie. Oh, Sister Rita Marie, she was mean, okay? And it was career day. And everybody was talking about what their dad did for a living. We were supposed to go in and talk about what our dad did for a living. Well, I knew that my dad got up every morning, he put on a suit, and he worked for the government. But I had no idea what he did. I just knew he went to work. So everybody else was like, well, my dad's a fireman. My dad's a policeman. My dad's a doctor. And look, I don't know where this came from. I still don't know from today, but my hand went up and I said, well, my father owns a movie theater, and he can get us any movie that we want and bring it in here and we can watch it during our class. Y'all, look, I was Queen Diva for the day. They were like, yay, movies! And I'm telling you, in that moment, okay, in that moment, I felt like I was okay. See, because all those times of walking home and feeling like I was worthless, in that moment, with that one lie, I changed the way everybody thought about me. But more importantly, I changed the way I thought about me. Because see, what I thought about me was a reflection of what you thought about me. And that was all good till my mother showed up and blew the whole thing. It was like, shit, our father works for the government. You know, what's wrong with you? Why do you tell these lies? I don't know. And you know, lying was, it served me well for a lot of years. Listen, I lied to you when the truth was good enough, man. I don't know why. If you asked me what color my car was, if it was white, I'd tell you it was blue. If you said, how old are you? I'd say, 52. When I'm 53, okay? I don't know why, I just did it. Something in me compelled me to tell you something that wasn't true. Because that way I had control over what you thought about me. And see, today, I don't really care what y'all think about me, seriously. Because if I did, there's no way in God's green earth that I'd be standing up in here in front of a whole bunch of inmates running my mouth. But one thing I know is that what I'm going to tell you today, I'm believing that I'm going to drop a nugget in your spirit that can literally change the way you think about yourself and about the people around you. Because again, we're going to keep going back to this. It's all up here. It's all up here. It's what you perceive yourself to be. This isn't a rah-rah talk. This isn't somebody coming in and giving you motivation. I'm going to share real life experience with you. Today, I'll be talking to inmates. Tomorrow, I could be talking to a group of business people. I've gone from a crack house and I ended up in a state house. I was homeless, and now I help the homeless. I've written and I've published my own book. Y'all are going to get a copy of that today. I own my own small business. I help nonprofits get started and sustain them. I can go to 12-step meetings and I can share my story, or I can go to church and I can preach a sermon. I can hang out in the hood with my peeps and all the women that I mentor, or I can show up for a dinner with politicians. Because you know what? I'm just like a little schizo like that, okay? I'm like sushi, okay? I'm an acquired taste. I don't fit into the proverbial box. What you run from, I run too. I'm different than all that. And so are you. You, all of you, me, we've been created to do and be more than one thing. Look, you cannot let people put you in the box that they want to put you in. You cannot let them narrow you down to be in something that they want you to be. Because baby, if I had let somebody narrow me down, I'd be in I'd have never gotten out of the nut house. And yeah, that's what they say, that's where you're end up. Institutions, the nut house, and the next one is death. And I don't know about anybody else. I don't want to die. There was a time I wanted the pain to stop, but I don't want to die today. I have a life and it's fulfilling. Listen, while you're here, I'll bet there have been some concepts that have run through your mind. I bet there's been some things that you've thought that you've never thought before. See, there's some things deep inside of you that want to get birthed. They want to be unlocked. They want to come out. They want to emerge and do something different. But if I took the willpower, if we could measure willpower, in this room alone, there's more willpower than there probably is in the whole freaking state of California. And y'all know what I'm talking about. Because you don't get where you are without some willpower. But what it is, it's about guiding that power and utilizing it for something better, right? So look, this is the deal. Adversity, some people say that adversity, the definition of adversity is, Webster's dictionary says that it is a unfortunate situation. It's an event that has taken you off course. And I like to say that adversity is nothing more than a setback. Adversity is a setback, and a setback is a setup for a comeback. Do you got that? A setback is a setup for a comeback. Because if you've never been set back, you can't come back from nothing. And there's nobody that's stronger than somebody who's already been there. Listen, when you get a cut on your arm and you get a scar, that skin over that cut is so much more, it's stronger than the other skin. When you break a bone and it mends, that's stronger. Because see, it's been through something, it's had a setback. So the next time somebody says something to you, oh, you ain't gonna do nothing, you ain't gonna go nowhere, you've been knocked up, say, look, yo, it is nothing. Adversity is nothing but a setup for a comeback. It's a setback or a setup for a comeback. That's all that it is. But it's a matter of what you think about it and what are you going to do with it. It's all up to you. Now, I'm telling you that you can look at adversity as an advantage. You can either look at it as something to make you bitter or something to make you better. That's basically all there is. But you know what? There's nobody like you. There's only one you. And whatever adversity that you've experienced in your life is yours individually. Nobody has your DNA. Nobody has your fingerprint. Although sometimes I'm sure we wish somebody did have our fingerprint. Y'all are looking at me. I'm like, come on, man, loosen up a little bit. I just loosen up. It's okay. You can laugh. I won't get mad. It's all right. I'm just talking to y'all. That's all I'm doing. I'm just talking to y'all. That's it. But you know, nobody is like you. Nobody has your fingerprint. Nobody has your DNA. They can drive in your car. They can be with your baby's mama. They can live up in your house. It doesn't matter. They will never be you. You see, that's why there's no need for jealousy. There's no need to worry about it. You are the only you that's on this earth. You are unique. You are special. You are in a class all by yourself. Do you hear what I'm saying? You're not just bad. You are super bad. Now, you know, we all got that my son says, you know, he's always telling me, Mom, look, I got this swag. I just got it like that. You know, I mean, jump on my swag. I hear it all. I got teenagers in my house all the time. Well, I got a swag when we're out there walking the street, right? Oh, this is who I am. You know, this is me. I'm bad. Well, you know, why don't you take some of that and rearrange it and use it for something that could actually get you something. Yeah. Hello, get you something. Oh, I thought I had it all like that too. And so did everybody else. And they used me and they abused me and they chewed me up and they spit me out. But that don't happen no more. Nobody uses me. Because see, I know who I am and I know what I have been through. So, we go through adversity. We know that we're fearfully and wonderfully made. We know we got a lot with us, okay? But that is not going to stop the winds of adversity from blowing in your life. Let me illustrate it this way. If I were to offer you a $100 bill or a $100 check, raise your hands, show your hands, who would take the $100 bill? Okay, now what if I took that $100 bill and I crumbled it up and I spit on it and I threw it on the ground and I just crumbled it and crunched it into the ground? Would you still want the $100 bill? Heck yeah, you want the $100 bill, because you can pick that bad boy up, you can smooth it out, blow it off, it's still worth $100. But that check can be written on a closed account. It can bounce. It can be on insufficient funds. It can be forged. That happens to be my felony, uttering a forgery, just so you know. Yeah, it can be that. But see, that $100 bill, it's still worth $100 because nobody can take that value away from that $100. It is what it is. And many times, we've had circumstances and situations, either by our own decisions or by things that have happened to us that have crunched us, that have allowed us to be, made us feel like we are more or less than. Do you understand what I'm saying? Those are the things that are around us. Those are not who we are. And again, it's all a state of mind. You've got to constantly be looking at yourself that you are
valuable. It's somebody else who takes away your value. But the thing is, you gotta let them. You can overcome adversity. It can make you stronger if you wanted to. Just like I said, again, what do you think about your adversity? Do you think, oh, poor me? Do you think, oh, this devil always happens to me? I mean, I'm the only one that gets caught. Everybody else is out there, they never get caught. I mean, when I do something here, if I do something that's against the law, I'm the only one that gets caught. Well, then quit doing it. That's what I have to say. Just quit doing it. Bottom line. Oh, I don't want to hear that. No, because see, what we want to do is we want to feel good and do right. Well, sometimes those two things just don't go together. Sometimes, you know the saying, it takes a little pain for a little gain, but the operative word is little. I don't know about y'all, but there is nothing that can outdo the pain that I endured while I was on those streets. I covered it up with everything I could cover it up with. I put lipstick all over it, baby, but I'm telling you, inside, there was nothing that was taking away the pain that I had. And finally I said, look, if I'm going to suffer anyway, I might as well just suffer for the good. I might as well look at something in my life and say, you know what, I'm going to get beyond this, period. So today, I want to challenge your thinking. I'm going to give you 4 points of how to use adversity as an advantage. How to use adversity as an advantage. Number 1, find the strength to persevere when the odds are stacked against you. What's perseverance? It's knowing you can't, knowing you got all kinds of stuff coming against you, but you're going to do it anyway. I'm going to stand strong. I don't care what they say. I don't care how they say it. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to do it. Now, did any of y'all say that when you were pursuing, let's say, your other career, your other life? Because I'm not believing that anybody's going out of here unchanged. I'm not going to believe it. I'm not going to speak it. I'm going to say right now that every single man sitting up in this room is going to change the way they think about themselves, change the way they think about society, and you're going to go forward. So perseverance is quit letting what somebody else thinks or the odds that you have to overcome stop you from moving and doing the things that you need to do. Okay? So you have to find the strength to persevere when the odds are stacked against you. Don't, money can't hold you back. Well, I don't have an education. Well, I don't have an education either. I have a high school education. I've been to some Bible college. But I'll tell you one thing I do got an education in. I got an education in the school of hard knocks, baby. I know what it's like to be without. I know what it's like to go through something. I know what it's like to be a domestic violence survivor, to overcome a crack addiction of 20 years. I know what it's like to be a convicted felon and go in and try to get a job. I know what it's like. But sometimes, somewhere, I gotta quit letting what those things, those people think about me, control what I think about me. They weren't there with me. They didn't walk those streets with me. They weren't when I was incarcerated. They were not next to me. I was there all by myself. And so I had to say, you know what? Look, this is who I am. And I refuse to let money, lack of education, people, or my circumstances stop me from moving ahead and moving forward. You know, problems create a divine frustration. How many of y'all know that sometimes you're not going to do anything until you get so sick and tired of feeling the way that you feel that there ain't no way out? Have you thought here, I'll tell you one thing, you will never catch me back up in this place. Have you said that to yourself? Well, you know what, some of y'all haven't, because you know what, you want to come back. And that's okay. It's okay with me. I'm not mad at you. I don't dislike you. I feel sorry for you because there's more than you can imagine out there for you. Let me tell you something. I tried every drug there was. And I can tell you, I've never been as high as I get today when I can walk back into a correctional facility and I can speak something positive into the lives of somebody who is going where I was. Do you understand what I'm saying? There is nothing like it. So don't cut yourself short. So those of you that are here that you think, man, you know, I'm just going to bide my time. What you going to bide it for? What are you learning? What's different? Time don't change nothing. Time does not change anything. It's what you do with the time that changes you. So you got to look at this and say, okay, I want to do something different. What can I do? You know that most times, typically, losers are people who give up right before they reach triumph. Like the guy who walked through the snowstorm. 20 yards from safety and security, they found him frozen to death, 20 yards. If he had walked a couple more steps, he might have been able to see it. But see, he gave up because it got to be too tough for him. See, we give up because it's too hard. You know what? We're fighters, man. Look, let me tell you something. I'm from PG County, Maryland. And if anybody's in here, don't get mad if I say this. And I always say, you know, you can take me out of PG County, baby, but you will never take the PG County out of me. And what do I mean by that? We like to fight in PG County. That's just the way it is. Listen, I got a father who's 75 years old, still lift weights, and he'd still be like, what? I mean, he just like that. My brothers, they fight with each other. They didn't have anybody to fight with. I had 3 brothers, okay? That's how they roll. They just love to fight with each other, okay? And there's a tenacity that comes with that. Now, do I think that's right? No, it's stupid, okay? But what we've been able to do, some of us, is take that tenacity and turn that thing around. See, the fight that I used to fight, I was the last one standing. I always had an extra, I'm gonna get $20 from somewhere. You know, I'm gonna find me a ride somehow. Because I was never gonna quit. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, the police were swarming around. I was gonna walk in, knock on the door, and get me a 20 rock. I don't care, look, no, you're not telling me no. Oh, y'all can relate to that, come on, you know what I'm saying. Don't tell me no, okay? Okay, so what's the difference? Why you got so much in that area, but you can't shift that thing to have so much in another area? What, because somebody's telling you you can't? Don't let everybody tell you you can't. You know, my motto is, I'll make you tell me no. I will bug you so much that really what you'll say is, what do you want? Just to get rid of you. And you can do that if you're living the right way. Here's a couple tips. Now, when I say this, I know you're going to go, oh, Lord, I can't believe she's telling me this. Just like I the girl was a couple weeks ago, maybe do better or something. When the guy said, oh, I just thought, let's just go to my home and come up here and tell me. Well, I'm just going to tell you this. I was incarcerated, and now I'm not. I was blind, and now I see. And I have a good life, y'all. I have a wonderful life. And it didn't happen overnight. It happened putting one foot in front of the other. It happened when people started to tell me things to do, I started to do them. Because see, I'm from the philosophy of, you know, I know everything. Anybody in here know everything? I know everything. Still to this day, I know a lot about a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm telling you, I do. I've been through a lot of experiences in my life. You know, I could hang drywall. I could do plumbing. I can't do electricity. I can also do nonprofits. I can type. I can do publisher. I can do a lot of things. Okay? See, I was always from the school that you can't tell me nothing. But you know. You ain't been where I've been. Tell me something stupid like that. You know, that was my mentality. And see, I cut myself off because there's a lot of people that had a lot of things to tell me that helped me. Here's one. In the morning. So if anybody has anything to talk about, y'all can just, you can go somewhere else. I did not come here for y'all to talk while I'm talking. Okay? I don't care if you like me or not, but I require your full attention. Please. I'll be done shortly. If I'm speaking something positive into your life, I apologize for that. Okay? Look, this is the bottom line. When you get up in the morning, and I don't really care if you call me the B word, because you know what? I'm here because I want you to make it. I'm here because I want to see the men of this country rise up and quit coming to jail and do something with their lives. You've got it inside of you. Don't you know that? You've got it, what it takes inside of you. And I want to encourage you. I'm not here to give you a rah-rah. I'm here to tell you that you can do it. Listen, I lived on the streets of Washington, D.C. for years. I dated a man that beat the living crap out of me. I sold my body I gave it away like it was a stick of gum. Okay? I walked around with holes in my shoes because I wasn't buying no shoes. I had to get high because I had to forget about all the crap that I was to reflect. Give yourself a little bit of time to get grounded. Whether if you read scripture, whether you read a book of inspiration, whether you take my book and take some things out of it. Read something that you're going to put into you that's going to ground you. And the reason I say that is because when the winds of adversity come, when you go into a place that you see as a menial job like McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts, and they say, we don't want none of you. We don't like your flavor. We got 31 flavors and you don't fit in this little box. You know, so much rejection like that. You got to have something that's going to help you stand, because you're going to do what I did when I was 5 years old. You're going to look for the quickest way to escape. I don't need this crap. I don't need these people telling me this. But see, if you make a habit out of putting something good in, that something good is going to be the thing that permeates your thoughts. Because look, wherever the man goes, the mind is going to follow, okay? Y'all know that. Wherever you go, wherever your mind goes, the man is going to follow. If you start thinking about going and meet Moo on the corner and just, doing a little something to make a little bit of money, what's the next thing you're going to do? Listen, I can't listen to a certain kind of music. I don't need to be down in the club, okay? So I got to protect, I got to guard my mind. So what this does is it helps you when you take this time in the morning to create a foundation. Encouragement. Is there anybody in here who knows someone who they don't give them money, they don't give them anything, but whenever you're around that person, they make you feel better about yourself? I have a couple people in my life that whenever I'm around them, I don't know why, but they make me feel better about me. And this is the thing. In life, you have seed, you have time, you have harvest, okay? We're all planting seeds all over the place. Wherever we go, we're planting seeds. We're planting seeds of discourse, we're planting positive seeds. We're planting seeds of encouragement, we're planting negative seeds. Wherever you go, whenever you open your mouth, you're dropping a seed. So, how many of you know that when you plant an apple, when you get an apple and you plant an apple seed, you don't get just one apple. You get an entire apple tree from one tiny little seed. And what I want to challenge you with is this, that when you're planting seeds, do you want to plant seeds that come back in positive reinforcement? Or you want to plant a whole bunch of negative stuff out there? Because trust me, it will come back. Yeah, that's like the old saying, I ain't going to get caught. Yeah, right. Oh, you're going to get caught. Maybe not for what you did, but you will get caught. And see, the thing is, it's about what you think. It's about what you think. Do you want to keep spewing the negative, going nowhere kind of stuff? Or do you want to be known as a man who's an encourager? Do you want to be known as a man who, whenever I'm around him, I don't know why, but he's always got something good to say to me? You see, you've got to encourage other people. And you've got to find a mentor who can encourage you. Let me tell you, successful people follow their words and the images they have in their mind. I have mentors. I have a spiritual mentor. I have a 12-step mentor. I have a business mentor. I have the people that I go to, and I ask them, how would you do this? I mean, sometimes when you got to write things, I'm like, I just ain't that smart, and I get all jammed up and I can't think. And so I have people that I've cultivated relationships with who know me. I don't do it so they think I'm good. I do it because I need somebody that I can be absolutely, totally honest with. Because how many of y'all know you're only as sick as your secrets? Ain't nothing going to kill you like a secret. My father used to say to me, why you got to go and air your dirty laundry in front of all these people? I mean, why you got to write it in a book? What would possess you to do that? Freedom, baby. Man, I ran for so many years. I hid from so many people. I mean, I don't want to live that way no more. So you see, when you start to empower yourself through the words that you speak, that old saying, sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt me, they lied to you. You tell me words don't hurt you. Words will kill you. They will kill your spirit. They will strangle your breath. They'll just get a hold of your heart. And you can think about a word somebody said to you 10 years ago and it'll echo in your mind. You ain't no good. You'll never be nothing. You're just like your daddy. I can think about stuff that my mother said to me when I was a little kid. I don't blame her. It's just the way that it was. Words are powerful. They're containers for power. Start speaking well of people. Start being around people who have something going on instead of just yelling, hanging. Nobody wants to hear all that. We turn on MTV and hear all that stupid garbage. Nobody wants to hear that. Really, seriously. Okay, so the first one we were talking about is to not, persevere when the odds are stacked against you. Another thing you need to do is you need to create a mission statement. Does anybody know what a mission statement is? You want me to tell me what it is?
Like a goal. Like an ultimate goal.
Exactly. It's like a roadmap is what it is. It's something that you write that says, these are the things that I want to achieve. I said I work with nonprofits, a small business. Even the IRS wants to know what's your mission statement when you fill out your paperwork to become a 501. That's how it permeates society. What's your mission statement? Where do you want to go? I suggest y'all write one. Write something down. I want to be a productive member of society. I want to speak positive things in people's lives. I want to be a person who is a man of integrity. When I give my word, I want to keep it. Even if you're not doing it now, write it down. Because you know something? One day you're going to want to do it. And you got to have something to move towards. If I had not persevered, I would not have been able to move forward and create this transitional home for women that I had for 7 years. We had inmate services, we had resource services, and we had residential services. And I will brag a little bit about this, that the recidivism rate for our residential home was 0. It was 0. And you want to know why? Because what I'm talking to you about today, we instituted these principles in the everyday life of the women who were living in that home. But I'll never forget this. I was at a political thing. They had asked me to come and speak about New Vision. That was the name of the program. And listen, I'd go anywhere. If the Kiwanis wanted me to come, I'd go and talk to the Kiwanis. I mean, if the Republicans, the Democrats, the Protestants, the Catholics, the Pentecostals, if they wanted me to come and talk about New Vision, I talked about it. I said, you know what, I'm going to be a representative for all those women that are locked up that don't have a voice. I'm going to do it. So I'm at this political thing, and it was to get a congresswoman back on the ballot. They were trying to get people, before you walked in, they didn't know I was the speaker. I walk in, this is about maybe 8 years ago, maybe 9, and they said, oh, can you sign the ballot for Congresswoman so-and-so, because we're trying to, the paper, we're trying to get her back on the ballot. And I said, no, I'm sorry, I can't. And they said, well, why can't you? I mean, all these women, they're all these little white ladies, they're standing around. Why can't you? And I said, well, I'm a convicted felon, I can't vote. I mean, if you would have heard my pin drop, y'all, okay? Okay? And you know what I said? I said, well, but that really rocked their world. Oh my gosh, we have a convicted felon in our midst. And so, the thing was, I could have said some lie, okay? I could have. But see, I was a speaker. And I said, no, you know what? They need to see that what their perception is of somebody sitting here today is not what you have to be. Because look, when I walked, if you look at me, okay, you would never believe that I was the things that I said that I was. And it's not just the outside, it's the inside. It's the things that come through me. It's the life that's in me. Do you see what I'm saying? And I said, I'm going to persevere. They're not going to make fun of me because this thing's going to make it. And I love that story because it's helped me to persevere in other areas when I felt like there was no way to go. First one, find the strength to persevere when the odds are stacked against you. Second, do not let your past dictate your future. Do not let your past dictate your future, okay? Did you know that Abraham Lincoln, before he became president, he claimed bankruptcy twice. He lost his fiancée in a fire. He had a nervous breakdown. He was defeated to Congress 3 consecutive times. He was defeated as senator twice, and he was defeated when he ran for the vice president, before he ran for president. Now, I don't know about you, but after the first time, I'd be like, look, I'm messing with them people. I mean, is that amazing that he endured that? And what did he do? He became a president who really started to shape and to mold the way things were going in this country. Because see, he stood and he said, I'm not going to let my failure stop me from trying. I'm not going to let my failure stop me from trying. That's a page in my book that I'm going to turn. Okay? So you've got to look at this thing and you've got to say, everybody's got problems. Everybody's got circumstances. They all do. Okay? But it's how we look at our circumstances. Is it not? Is it not what I'm saying? How do we look at our circumstances? Listen, at 211 degrees, water is hot. 212 degrees, water's boiling. And when water boils, it emits a steam. And that steam can power a locomotive. It can heat a building. It's 1 little degree of difference. It's 1 little degree of difference. It's just how you look at it. You know, when people say something to you that's demeaning, you know, you've got 2 choices. You can retaliate, or you can say, yeah, whatever. Who are they to you? I mean, I tell my son, he says, you know, Mom, so-and-so says, said this to me. I mean, how do I come back with that? I said, you know what, just tell them that they probably need therapy. I mean, I don't know. Say whatever. Good, I'm glad you think that. Thanks for sharing. Because all that's going to do is take you down a road where you don't want to be. You see what I'm saying? It's that one little tiny bit of adjustment that you make. When you get the no, when you don't get the letters, when you don't get the money for commissary, and you get on the phone and you're going to talk to whoever it is that's supposed to be sending that stuff to you, it's 1 little degree of difference of how you come across. 1 little degree. Just like in here. I'm going to tell you, oh Lord, I'm trying to get in trouble for that. I'm going to say it anyway. I know that y'all got a lot to do up in here. For the life of me, I can't understand. If you want to change your life, why you wouldn't participate in every single thing that's available for you. Because if you can't do it in here, you ain't doing it out there. I don't care what you tell yourself. I don't care what kind of lies you tell yourself. I don't care what kind of you're going to be. It's a bull, okay? You ain't going to do it. Because if you can't do it when everybody and everything is taken care of and you're being told what to do, don't think you're going to get up in the morning and press yourself. You don't know what it takes for me to get up in the morning and go sit in front of that computer. I was at Coffeewood last night. I didn't get home till midnight. I came in, I had to run stuff off. I got up this morning at 6 o'clock, I went to the gym. I ran. I came home. I got myself together and I drove 2.5 hours to get here. Oh, trust me. It was easy for me to say, I don't want to go to the gym this morning. It was easy for me to say, I don't want to go to Coffeewood last night. That's not on my schedule. I want to go up there and see them people I saw last week. They ain't doing nothing. I don't want to see them. It's all about how I look at it. I'm like, you know what? This is going to pump me up. This is going to encourage me. I might run into somebody that I saw. I might be able to speak a good word to somebody, and I'm going to do it. Period. I'm going to do it. It's 1 degree difference. Let your adversity, your experience be the steam that powers your ideas and your dreams and the things that are going on. This is the thing. Sometimes you do things that are not necessarily for you. Did you know that sometimes you are a trailblazer? Most of the time people don't want to be trailblazer. They just want to do stuff for them because it's all about them. And you know what? If it's all about you, you ain't going to have nobody helping you. Do it by yourself. Be all about you. But when you do something for somebody else, then that somebody else is in your posse too. They're with you, okay? I told you about this man I was with for 10 years. I met him in 1977. And in 1977, I'm going to tell you that interracial relationships were not popular in 1977. Okay? They didn't like that stuff. There wasn't no mixed babies or blended families. That's not what it was. Okay? people are still real uncomfortable with this. Get over it. Because you know something? The bottom line is, we're all the same if we give ourselves a chance to get to know one another. And you know, I walked down that road with that man, they'd chase us down in the streets. I'd go into a club, those girls would want to beat me because I had one of their men. Listen, I just like the guy, sorry. Okay? I had my own family calling me names. You know what it's like to be called nigger lover? You know what that's like? You want to know what that follows you? Y'all look at me. I'm being real here. Do you hear what I'm saying? You want to know what it's like to have that on you and everywhere you go people say that to you? Look, I could have just fought them. I could have said, I'm going to curl up in a ball. I'm going to run from this man. I don't want nothing to do with him. I said, no, what I'm going to do is one day I may actually pave the road. So my children can be free to love whoever they want to love, to do whatever they want to do, that they're not going to be bound by that. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Not everything is for you. Sometimes you pave the road for somebody else. Sometimes it don't feel good, but you know what? It's not going to feel good anyway. So, but if it's going to help somebody else, why wouldn't you want to do it? Do you have kids? Do you have a family? Do you have somebody you love? Do something. Pave that road for them. You know, nobody wants to be labeled. Nobody wants to feel like an outcast. Nobody wants the color of their skin or their gender or what they've done. You want to know what they're saying about y'all out there since y'all ain't been out there in a while? Y'all are no good. You're never going to make it. Once a felon, always a felon. Oh, they have a whole transformation while they're up in there, and then they all come out and do the same thing. All y'all, every single one of you, you're as bad as the guy back there. He's as bad as this one over here. How do you feel about that? That make you a little upset?
More determined, man.
That's right. You know, and see, this is the thing, okay? You can do one or the other. You can let it, catapult you to success, or you can pull back and you can get an attitude from it. I say pave the road for somebody else. New vision. Here I am, a convicted felon, forgery and uttering. I'm doing volunteer work at Rappahannock Regional Jail about 9 years ago. Taking 12-step in there. I've been sponsoring people in the 12-step committee for years. And, people start calling me, some of the social workers and people at the jail, hey, you come in a lot, do you know of any place where these women can go when they're released? And I'm thinking, you're the social worker, I'm a stay-at-home mom teaching a Bible study and bringing 12-step in, what do you call me for? And I remember one day sitting there thinking, somebody needs to do something about this. And I finally realized, wait a minute, I'm the somebody. What, you want to know what it was like when people started saying to me, nobody's going to give you money, nobody's going to do anything for you. See, because my past would say, she's going to steal that money and she's going to run with it because she's a convicted felon and she was a drug addict and she was a hoe and she's going to take the money and she's going to run. See, that's what my past says. Every time I fill out an application, I got to check the felony box, okay? 23 years later, I got to check the felony box. That's what my past said. But see, my present said, who's going to do it if you don't do it? I've been through all that. I'm the only one that I know that can go and do those things and help these women. And I want to let you know that I raised $1.5 million in 6 years, okay? What are the odds that the richest man in the world, one of the richest men in the world, not the United States, in the world, Warren Buffett, what are the odds that his sister would live in Fredericksburg, my hometown? What are the odds? What are the odds that I actually get to meet her? Here's the odds. I showed up everywhere where the woman was. I said, I'm gonna make her notice me. I just scooped my way as close as I could to her. And finally, one day, I got that window of opportunity. And I said, hi, I'm Lisa Thomas. I'm an ex-offender, and I have a home for women here in Fredericksburg, and I need some help. You know what it's like to get Berkshire Hathaway stock in your checking account? $500,000 worth. You know what it's like to have somebody trust you that much? See, I could have let my past, I could have taken that money and I could have run. I could have been high for free and I don't know how long. But the deal is, it's going to run out. See, it's going to run out. I'm going to run out. And so what I kept thinking was, I got to do something with this. And we did. I mean, we were very successful for 7 years until, of course, the economy hit and things happened. And really, people rather give money to puppies as opposed to ex-offenders coming out of prison, just so you know. I mean, you know, watch TV nowadays. I mean, them puppies are living high on the hog, man, okay? I mean, that's just the truth. It's really the truth, okay? So I could say, well, my past is that I went through this whole thing with New Vision and I didn't make it. Why should I go forth and do anything else? Just because I told you the things that other people run from, I run to. Don't tell me no. Don't tell me I can't go. I can't do it. You've been through some stuff that nobody else would be able to survive. You tell me the normal people that would be able to survive the stuff that you got to deal with in here. You hear what I'm saying? They would curl up and die. They wouldn't be able to handle it. You want to know what's like on Wednesdays? I got a group of kids in front of my house. And I love the kids that come that are the bad kids. You know what I mean? Like my daughter's a senior in high school. She brings all these kids over. And the bad kids are the ones that smoke dope and get in fights. But they know they won't come in my house like that, okay? And so, and I'm always messing with them, like, you know, he's, oh, you like to fight? Yeah, I like to fight. So when he's not looking, I'll run and grab him and throw him down on the grass. Come on, come on. And, you know, it's like this interaction starts happening. They start to light up, okay? And I start thinking about y'all. This is when I started thinking, see, to somebody this may seem like a stupid dream, like a stupid fantasy that could never happen. But see, I believe stuff. I believe when someone's planning, they need to hear. These kids, these young men, they need to hear from y'all. This ain't no joke. You don't want to give this state 20 years of your life. I mean, look at this one kid right now. I'm sorry. He's going there, you know what I'm saying? And he thinks he's a badass, and he thinks he's just like got it all going on. And he's going to end up down. What? So my dream is, why can't some of y'all pour into the lives of some of these kids? You really don't want them here, do you? Don't let your happen. You say, how can I do that? Start volunteering when you get out of here. Go somewhere and do something with your time instead of sitting around waiting for something to happen. Suit up and show up, baby. You know, don't go into looking for a job looking like 50 Cent or Jay-Z. Nobody wants to see your underwear. Nobody wants you to be no gangster, trust me. Okay, unless you're a rap star, nobody wants that. I mean, you might have all that swagger on the street and all that kind of stuff. Nobody wants that in their place of employment. I'm just here to tell you, I can't go in and look for a job with, you know, with a hoochie skirt on with my butt hanging out, and you know what I'm saying? I mean, that ain't gonna work. Now, I might get a job with some guy for a little bit of time, but it ain't a real job. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, it's the same thing. And it don't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what your past is. It doesn't matter about all those things. I mean, I don't wear suits in my everyday life, but I know what's appropriate. I got some brains in my head. So don't let what happened in your past, good or bad, dictate how you're going to walk that future out. You got way more going for you than what happened in your past. Third one, stop doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. What's that the definition of?
Insanity.
Insanity. Yes, insanity. Oh, I'm only going to go now. I got this $20. I know I got my bank card, but I got this $20, and I'm just going to go, you know, see Gary on the corner just for about maybe an hour or something. I'm gone for 3 days. Raggedy, no bath, coming back. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep doing the same things except expecting something different. You can't keep hanging with the same people expecting things are going to be different. I said I have 3 brothers. My one brother's sober. He's living a good life. I got 2 brothers that are so messed up. My one brother takes 80 Oxycontin a day. A day. I don't know how the man is alive. I don't know how he's alive, y'all. And you know, it's so hard because, like, I mean, I've had them all over my house. I've tried to help everyone, but you can't. You know how it is. It's got to come from down. But see, you can't keep. I can't keep doing and being with people. I've had to let some of my family go. And in other family, I've had to make amends and say it was me. It wasn't you. As hard as that is to humble myself to say, you know what? It was not you. It was my jacked up ways. It was my addiction. It was my greed. It was my ego. You know what I'm saying? You cannot keep doing the same thing expecting for it to be different. You know, again, like I said, you know, you do things when you want to be loved, when you want to be accepted. When I got out, I was in Arlington County Jail, and when I got out, oh, and another thing, I know what y'all are going to say because I've already heard this from several people. Some of you may not, but some of you may. Well, time, if you haven't done like, you know, a couple of years, that's really no time. Well, I'm going to tell you this. I, my friends, decided after, you know, 8 months of being incarcerated that I would never come back here. And it doesn't, I opened this up with this. It doesn't matter where you are in your physical, it matters where you are in your mind. So when you say to me, well, she ain't got no time. Well, you know what? I still got a felony. I still came out homeless. I walked out of the front door of that jail. I met my abusive boyfriend. I walked across the street to the Pizza Hut. I drank a pitcher of beer. I wrote a bad check, and I was at the crack house in 2 hours. 45 minutes after that, I was getting my head beat in. 2 hours. And you know what? I cried. I said, how did I get to this in 2 hours? What the heck? And you know, I finally made a decision. I said, I'm not doing this no more. I don't know where I'm going to go. I couldn't go to my parents. I had no friends, nothing. Nothing. Because I had lived on the streets for 2 years before I went to jail. I started walking around in Arlington, looking at houses that looked safe. And in Arlington, the garages are detached. They're in the back. So I'd go around looking in the garage door, see if there was a car that looked like it moved, you know, scoping the place out. And I would either sleep in the garage or I'd sleep behind the garage. Contents of my life, gym bag. It would have been really, really easy for me to just go stand on the corner. It would have been easy. It would have been like this. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. I am not going to do the same thing because it's going to turn out the same way. And then I got a job. I go to the Exxon. I clean up, brush my teeth until I got enough money that I got a hotel room. And then things progressed. But I said, you know, I'm not going to do the same thing because I know where it gets me. I know me. Listen, well, I would say I wasn't going to get high. I'd go drink a beer. Well, how many of y'all know, and if you don't know, if you've got a problem with drugs, don't say you don't have no problem with alcohol. Because what you got is an allergy against anything that alters your mood. And what I would do is I would play with myself. See, I would say, okay, I'm not going to smoke any crack. I'm not going to smoke any dope. I'm just going to drink me a beer. Oh, shoot, by the end of that beer, I was already scheming and conniving how I was going to go back and hook up and, you know, do what I had to do. You can't afford to do the same thing expecting something different. You just can't do it. You got to dream one size bigger than where you already are. But you got to have a dream to make it bigger. I'm always thinking, how can I do this thing bigger? I wrote this book, right? And I said, I want to take this book and I want to give it to people who it's going to mean something to. That's you. So I said, okay, I'm just going to keep pressing. And I pressed so much that I'm going to just about every facility in the state of Virginia. I'm not a DOC employee. I'm just a little old white girl with love. But you see, I've done the right thing for long enough that I've got some credibility. I've done the right thing long enough that I've got some credibility. Those of you that say, I want to start a 501, Miss Lisa, what should I do? Do the right thing for a little while. Put your dream on paper. Don't put it down. You can't do a 501 by yourself. They don't give 501s to individuals. They give it to groups and teams. You gotta have a board of directors. Who you know is gonna be on your board of directors? Nobody maybe now. You do the right thing a little while. You'd be amazed at the people that come and support you if you do the right thing. A dream. A dream requires faith. And I'm telling you, faith, without risk, there's no faith. A dream is always going to have risk attached to it. I have a radio show. I was interviewed on this radio network, and then they asked me to do a show. And I said, okay, I thought, oh, this is great. Well, that's great for about a month, but every week I got to come up with a guest. And, you know, this seems easy, but people don't just want to listen to anybody. And if I'm going to do a radio show, I want it to be number 1 or in the top 10. I don't want to be number 5, you know? So I start calling people. Y'all listen, I mean, this blows my mind. Nobody's told me no. I have had a lady who is a CNN Hero of the Year who works with gangs out in Detroit on my show. I've had secret millionaire James Malinchek on my show. I've had Dexter Manley on my show. I've had Joe Theismann on my show. I've had Darryl Strawberry and his wife Tracy, who are now personal friends of mine. Now you tell me, that's not too bad for a crackhead junkie hoe that 20 years ago was living on the streets. See, because I wasn't going to let my past dictate my future. And these people, when you're honest and you're open and you're doing the right thing, they want nothing more than to come alongside and support you and to help you. Do you know how exciting it is for me to have on the other end of the phone or on Skype when we're doing this with my producer, Joe Theismann? I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. I love it. Those are the things I used to dream about, like being all, you know, involved with the stars and the celebrities. But it ain't even like what I dreamed about. If I had got what I dreamed about, I would have cut myself short. Okay. You have to look at what you have, and you've got to utilize those things. You've got to stay away from people, places, and things. Listen, you do not need to go. If you know that the woman in your life is going to get you in trouble, you need to find a new woman. I'm just telling you, I don't care who she is. If you're the most important person in your crowd, if you've got the most success of everybody in your crowd, find a new crowd. Water rises to its own level. You've got to find people that are going somewhere to be around. Quit doing the same things over and over again, expecting a different result. Okay, so I'm going to go through them and then we're going to hit the last one. What was the first one? Find the strength to persevere when the odds are stacked against you. Number 2, do not let your past dictate your future. Number 3, stop doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And number 4, you need to learn how to maximize your full potential. Learn how to maximize your full potential. How do you know what this is? Piece of coal. Some people don't know what coal is. You know, I grew up, I grew up in Beachy County, but my parents were from Pennsylvania. And my grandparents lived there. And in Pennsylvania, they use coal to heat their house. They have a furnace, they've got a big grate, and man, I'm telling you what, you put some coal in there, it gets so hot in that thing, you gotta prop the front door open and the back door open. That's how hot it gets. But listen, as quick as it gets hot, is as fast as it'll get cold once it burns out. And once it burns out, once it's used to its full potential, this is nothing more than ashes. That's all that it is ashes. I mean, it's got a lot of good to it, but it fizzles out really quick. Okay? And you know, they don't use it too much anymore, but at one time it helped with a lot of, just like steam, with boats and ships and different things like that. But I'm going to tell you, under the right circumstances, under some situations that apply darkness and pressure and heat, things start to change. Under intense circumstances and pressure and heat, molecules start to change and that coal begins to be transformed. And it starts a process of transformation to become something even more valuable. It goes from looking like this to looking like something like this. It starts to get clearer, it starts to get lighter, but it only becomes this way after it's undergone some difficult circumstances. Do you hear what I'm saying? Intense heat. A diamond is formed when coal undergoes tremendous pressure and heat. And you know what? If you don't have no pressure and you don't have any heat, your value is nowhere near what it'll be when you do. Listen, you ought to be happy and thankful for those people who left you. You ought to be clapping your hands for people who used you, for people who cheated you, people who stabbed you in the back, people, your friends who gossiped about you. You ought to be standing up and saying, I am so glad that somebody came against me. Be grateful for the time that you're locked up, because I'm telling you something. There ain't nobody that can tell you about being locked up but you, okay? See, they might talk to you about, oh, it must be hard. Oh my gosh, how do you do it? Oh, one time I was, away from my family for a week and it was difficult. They'll start telling you, oh, it's hard. No, they don't know what it's like. But see, you, after being under immense pressure and being under immense heat of adversity, start to transform. Now look, many of you can stay just like this. And just like I said, if that's what you want, if you're the kind of person you get a little bit of energy, you get it, you go for it, you come down, oh, I'll do my time, I'll do my bit, it ain't no big deal. Hey, have at it. But for you people, I'm talking to you men that want something better, that have been under enough heat, under enough scrutiny. You have been abused and used by people. You've been cast away. You've been put in a situation where the pressure is so intense that sometimes you literally feel like you're going to die from it. See, that's what starts to transform you into a thing of value. Into a thing of value. A couple years ago, when I started this nonprofit, I got a call from the Speaker of the House, Bill Howard. And he said, hey, Lisa, he said, we're putting together a Senate subcommittee that's going to study re-entry in the state. And I would like for you to be a representative on that. And I said, oh, okay. I said, what do I do? He goes, oh, just go down to Richmond on the day and go to the General Assembly building. They'll tell you what to do. So I think, okay, fine. I think I'm going to go down and sit around the table and we're going to discuss re-entry. So I go down and I show up and I go in and walk into this room and I say to the legislative assistant, hi, I'm Lisa Thomas. I'm here for the Senate subcommittee. He goes, okay, well, go ahead and take a seat. Well, I look and it's a platform with, the microphones and your names across this raised stage. And I'm like, I see my name, I see Gene Johnson, who used to be the head of the Department of Corrections. I see Senator Bill Mims, who's now a Supreme Court judge. I see Mark Earley, who's from Prison Fellowship, who ran for governor. I see the head of Department of Safety, the head of Social Services, and I see Lisa Thomas, prisoner, New Vision, prisoner reentry. And I said, you want me to sit up there? And he said, yes, little preppy self. Yes, you are the subcommittee, aren't you? And I'm like, yes. So I'm already feeling intimidated, okay? Plus, I'm thinking I only have a high school education. I wish I had more. I'm not down in education, okay? I wish I had more. It would serve me better. But, okay, and so I'm starting to feel a little insecure, okay? So I'm sitting there and all these people come in and, hi, how you doing? Socially, I was great. Oh, great, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. So they open up the meeting and they put this video on, and it's of 3 individuals, 2 of them were men and 1 woman, and they were being released from incarceration, and they told a little story, okay? The lights were down low, and you guys, I start crying. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I was supposed to be like in that capacity. I don't really think I'm supposed to be sitting up here. I think they might have mixed things up. I mean, that's me. This isn't me. And so I'm just like, I was just full of anxiety, and I'm like, I gotta tell somebody. So the lights come back on, and they're starting to talk, and the chairperson says, does anybody have any comments? I mean, I don't know why you do, just like a lot. I don't know why you do certain stuff. You just do it. I pressed the button. I said, well, Madam Chairman, I have a comment. I just want to let you know that I am an ex-offender. I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, and I do run a home for women that are re-entering. And I just thought it would be very important for you to understand that I know exactly where these people are coming from, and I'm here to be an advocate for them. You could have heard a pin drop in that room, okay? I mean, they were all sitting there looking at me, and I am feeling like, oh my gosh. Y'all know I got a standing ovation from the crowd, because you want to know who was in that crowd? Your mom, your father, your brother, your sister, your wife, your kids, all the chaplains, all the people that come and support you when you get out. See, they know how hard it is. And they stood up and they started clapping for me. And y'all, I'm going to tell you something. Here I was, didn't even have my rights restored yet. I put in 3 pieces of legislation into the General Assembly, and all 3 of those were passed as law in the state of Virginia in 2007. Not too shabby for somebody who has to act. So here I am. I'm under pressure. I'm feeling scrutinized. I'm valuable to a certain extent, but I don't think I've reached my full potential. But it's under trying times like that. It's under adversity where you're putting yourself out there and you're saying, you know, look, I'm just going to go for it. See, that's when the true value comes. That's when things are you're being carved and the facets are coming out in you. The true you is emerging. Because look, for some of us, for people like us, the true us emerges after we've been through some stuff. After we realize that we're overcomers. After we realize that, you know what? I'm not going to let anything hold me back. The only thing that's going to hold me back is me. Is it going to be easy? Oh no, it's not going to be easy. I'm going to tell you right now. It's going to be one of the hardest things you ever want to do. Well, so what? Y'all been through, come on, hard. I mean, look at what you've been through. Look what you've endured. I mean, can't you see what you've been able to endure should catapult you to a place where that ain't hard? It's just a thing. It's a circumstance that you have to overcome. So I'm going to leave you with a few little thoughts. First, you've got to maximize your full potential. And that means it might get a little hotter and a little more difficult and a little bit more pressure. But why give up now? Why not go and keep moving on, right? Keep that in your mind. Keep that diamond, the thought of that in your mind. You know, why not use the things that you've been through to create a business? I did. I mean, I wrote a book just about my life experience. And when y'all get that book, you know, I never thought I could write a book. I published it too. I just figured it out. I said, I can do this. Why am I going to give somebody all my hard-earned, work? And when I almost died, I almost died to get this story. I'm not just giving it to you to publish and make money off of it. It's mine. Use some of the things that you've experienced to start your own company. You can do it. If I can do it, why can't you do it? Get some credibility. Get around some people that are doing something. Show up at community affairs. Go and volunteer. Go to a place of worship. You know how many people own businesses that go to a place of worship? And don't just do it because you want something. Do it because you want a change in your life. You hear what I'm saying? You're strong. You're able to face your giants in life because you have overcome. You need to appreciate what you do have and not what you don't have. Do you know in China, if you're serving a sentence for basically anything that's a crime of faith, okay, that you literally stay in a tin hut that's about 3 feet high and you lay on your back all day. That's where, if you're incarcerated in China. And you get to come out to go to the bathroom and to get something to eat. You know, I started looking at places of people that were incarcerated. So it may not be what you want it to be. Thank God it's not where you used to be, okay? Because I don't know about any of y'all, but I was in some pretty nasty places out there. And I don't ever want to go back. So start thinking about what you do have. Start moving towards something that's a little bit bigger than you. You can't do this on your own. You got to find something bigger than you. Live this day like it was your last day. You know, my best friend lives up 2 houses up from me, and her husband died 3 weeks ago of a brain tumor. And, you know, it's really made me take stock in my life. I mean, we all think we got all this time, you know, and the title of my book is This Is Your Life. It's not a dress rehearsal. See, because I was always going to start tomorrow. I wake up in the morning and I swear I wasn't going to get high today. That was until the feelings came or somebody showed up with, they had something, was holding something. Changed my whole, I start tomorrow. But see, when you got one foot in the past and one foot in the present, you're urinating all over today. You're just letting today go. It's meaningless. And this may be your last day. You want to know what it's like to be able to help somebody, though? You know, I was able to help this woman. My husband and I were able to take care of a dinner for her entire family. Not because I had to, not because she doesn't even know it. We said it was from the neighbors. That's a far cry from keeping everything for yourself. And trust me, it's not like I just got money sitting in the bank account. I want to do something with that money. You know, I want to go on a vacation. I want to remodel a bathroom. I want to buy my son and my daughter something. But I was able to give that to encourage somebody else. One last thing, I'm going to let you go. My son is a page this year at General Assembly. He's 15 years old. And my kids are awesome. But my son is, he's a quarterback. He's a straight-A student. He is handsome. He's smart. And he's going to be a lawyer. And I'm going to speak positive words out of my mouth that he's going to be president of the United States one day. Because if Barack Obama, a black man, can be president, which nobody thought would ever happen, why can't my son? And I refuse to let anybody say that that can't happen. I'm not pushing him, I'm supporting him. But he said to me the other day, he said, you know, we've always talked about everything in our house. I mean, at the dinner table when my kids were 5, we were talking about drugs and sex sitting around the dinner table, you know. I mean, that was just how I wanted to do it. I wanted to have an open conversation with my kids. And so he says to me, he says, hey, Mom, he says, me and Bryce are going to read your book. He said, we're going to have while we're here at General Assembly, while we're down, they stay during the week. He says, we're going to read your book. We're going to have a race. Now, I never made them read my book. I mean, if they want to read my book, that's fine. But if they don't, that's okay. They know my life, you know. So I gave him 2 books. And last Thursday, he called. And he was acting real weird on the phone. He says, well, I got to go. But he says, I sent you a text. And, of course, I wrote down on my phone. And the text said, Mom, I just got done reading your book. And you're the most amazing woman that I've ever heard in my life. He said, I'll never be embarrassed of you. No how, no way. And he said, the things you've been able to overcome inspire me. And he said, I just want to thank you for being my mom. Was it because I'm like a really successful speaker, or I wrote a book, or I got a radio show, or any of that crap? It was because I told the truth about my life. I'm not what I used to be. And you have no idea if God takes me home tonight, I feel that I've accomplished something in my life. I'm sober. I've got a husband that I've been married to for 20 years, and I've never cheated on my husband. Never. I had no desire to. I have 2 awesome children. And I've given back to people who need hope. And I'm telling you, if you can do that in your life, there is no drug, there is no devil in heaven or earth that can take anything away from you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
First, I just want to say thank you for listening. I know it was a long time. And I want to tell you that I really sincerely love each one of you guys. I want you to have a good life, and I know that you can. We have just a couple minutes for a couple questions. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to ask? Don't be shy. Yeah. He asked if we were going to start another home for women, and I've got all my guidelines. I've got a perfect model. Let me put it to you that way. And if anybody wants to get with that, I'm ready to roll, because I believe that it was there for a reason, and I think it would be a great model for men and women throughout the state. So let's just believe that that's going to happen.
Are you going to take this to other states?
Well, of course. I mean, I'm not there yet, but that's my next, that's why the evaluation forms are so important, because, see, I put all that data together, and then my husband puts it in a spreadsheet, and then I have that as my ammunition when I go and talk to other Department of Corrections officials to go in other states. So, anybody else? Yeah. I do have a website, and it's in the front of the book, and I'm going to sign the books and give you a handout about 7 keys to successful reentry. And, I really encourage you. I took a lot of time to put quotes, and I used lyrics from songs, because I really wanted my story to have a real gut meaning. So if y'all want to write me, I would love to hear what you have to say about my book. I really would. And I would take it, everything with a grain of salt. Criticism is my friend, okay? Yeah. You can't get your felony expunged in the state of Virginia. I've gotten my rights restored. If you committed the crime in the state of Virginia, you can be pardoned, but if you're going to be pardoned, it has to be that you did not commit the crime. And I was out there telling my stuff all over the place. I definitely committed the crime. And again, to be honest with you, I like my felonies now, because I've based my whole future on what I've been able to let go of in my past. And that's a really good question, because you know what? I am who I am, man. Whatever. They're going to find out anyway. So, Yeah. Well, it took me 6 months. I literally closed myself off every day for about 4 hours a day when my kids would go to school. I had closed down New Vision, and it was really one of those things that was therapeutic. I went right from that into writing the book, and in 6 months it was done and edited and ready to roll. Yeah. Yes?
What year did you receive your salvation?
Thank you for that. I received my salvation in 1993, the same year that I got sober. Anybody else? All right, gentlemen, well, thank you. And please take something that I said, even if you don't like me as a person. Please like what I said to you, because you're winners, and I think you can make it.